What happens after the switch is flipped and powerful AI tools are deployed in clinical practice? Do they work? Do they help? And how would we even know if they're causing harm? This is the central question tackled in a new report from the JAMA Summit on artificial intelligence. It aims to create a blueprint for the safe and effective use of AI across the entire healthcare system, framing it as a tool to solve some of our most ingrained problems with access, cost and quality of care. The vision is compelling, but the report quickly pivots from that promise to a dose of stark pragmatism. It identifies the single biggest hurdle to success, and it's not about building better code. It's about our complete inability to evaluate these tools once they're in the wild. The report drives this home with a devastating quote from former FDA Commissioner Robert Califf, who says he doesn't believe that a single US health system is currently capable of validating an AI algorithm in its own clinical setting. We are in essence flying blind. To understand why, the report gives a concise but comprehensive summary of the current landscape. It sorts AI tools into 4 broad domains: clinical tools for diagnosis, like in medical imaging; direct-to-consumer tools like wellness apps; business tools for things like scheduling; and hybrid tools like AI scribes. The problem is that many of these fall into a regulatory grey zone with little to no oversight. Their effects are highly dependent on the local context, the workflow, the user, the patient population, making traditional one-off clinical trials a poor fit for evaluating their real-world impact. The result is a chaotic ecosystem where tools are being adopted rapidly with a dangerously thin evidence base. So having identified these issues, how do we chart a path forward and build a case for trust? The report doesn't just raise the alarm, it lays out a concrete 4-part strategy to build a bridge from the lab to the clinic. First, it calls for total product lifecycle management. This means shifting from a linear process where a developer builds a tool and hands it off, to a continuous collaborative partnership between developers, regulators, health systems and clinicians to manage and monitor tools throughout their entire life. Second, we also need better measurement tools. The goal is to develop new, nimble methods to allow health systems to conduct rapid, robust evaluations of an AI's impact on actual patient outcomes, not just its technical performance and parameters. Third, and this is the cornerstone, is the creation of a national data infrastructure and learning environment. Think of it as an algorithmovigilance system, similar to post-market surveillance that we have for medicines. This would be a federated network of health systems that share data to continuously monitor the safety and effectiveness of AI tools across diverse settings. And finally, none of this happens without the right incentive structure. The report rightly points out that market forces alone won't solve this. It will require deliberate policy and financial levers to encourage health systems to invest in the critical safety and evaluation infrastructure that's needed. The report's an essential call to action. It makes it clear that the most important work in health AI isn't necessarily happening in the computer science lab, and the challenge has moved into the real world, and our priority should start to shift simply from building impressive models to building the robust, transparent and collaborative ecosystems required to manage them responsibly and to integrate them into care pathways safely. This is the only way we'll turn the immense promise of the technology into a reality that improves health for everyone.